I want to show you something on the screen right now. She referenced 2 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 16. And so I wanted to show you this, first of all, a topical study on the idolatry of Ahaz, which was Hezekiah's father. Now, if you go through and you look at the history, both on in the kingdom of Israel, after the split of the kingdom into two, you're going to find good kings and you're going to find very wicked kings. And you're going to see then the kingdom of Judah that there were kings that were wicked, and Ahaz was one of them. This was Hezekiah's father. He did not follow what his father did. His reign was wicked. So it talks about his background, that he ascended to the throne of Judah at the age of 20 and reigned for 16 years. Unlike his father Jotham, who did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, Ahaz is described as having walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, engaging in practices that were detestable to the Lord. His reign is characterized by a series of religious and political decisions that led Judah further away from the worship of Yahweh. And they talk about one of the most egregious acts of Ahaz was his participation in the worship of foreign gods. He made many molten images. If you read 2 Chronicles, prior to this in 28, you're going to see this of what happened before Hezekiah came to reign. He participated in child sacrifice in his own sons, which was condemned by the Lord. It also says that his idolatry extended to the construction of altars and high places throughout Judah, where he offered sacrifices and burned incense to various deities. His actions were not only a personal departure from the faith, but also led the nation into sin, provoking the anger of the Lord. Even at one point, as you look down through here, the impact on the temple worship. This is where this gets into with Hezekiah. This is why I'm telling you this, because historical context matters. But she didn't provide that. Instead, she used this text out of context in order to say, well, see, the priest had to go in and cleanse the temple, and it's just like us. We need cleansing. We have to have demons driven out. That's not what that means. And let's talk about what that cleansing was. Let's talk about it for just a moment. It says Ahaz's modifications to the temple were not limited to the instruction of a new altar. He also altered the temple furnishings, which were used in the worship for Yahweh. And he closed the doors of the temple, effectively halting the traditional worship of Yahweh. This is found in 2 Chronicles 28:24. These changes were a direct affront to the established religious order and further entrenched the idolatrous practices he had introduced. So you can read on through that. You can look these things up on Bible Hub. It's very helpful. I want to go to the Bible study Bible, portion of this passage in 2 Chronicles 29:16 that she just referenced. So the priests went into the inner part of the house of the Lord to cleanse it, and they brought out all the uncleanness that they found in the temple of the Lord into the court of the house of the Lord. And the Levites took it and carried it out to the brook Kidron. I want to scroll down here past these different translations down to the study Bible area. And I want to show you this because this matters. The context matters. It is very important that we understand the context of passages and what's going on. That we realize that we can't just pluck a verse out of context in order to prove our point. That's what she did. Instead, we have to look at the context of it. The priests went inside the house of the Lord to cleanse it. Were they cleansing it of demons? Is that what the passage says? No, that's not what it says. The priests, descendants of Aaron, were responsible for maintaining the sanctuary of the temple. This cleansing was necessary due to the idolatrous practices introduced by previous kings, particularly Ahaz. That was Hezekiah's father. The temple, representing God's dwelling place among his people, required purification to restore proper worship. This act of cleansing symbolizes repentance and the removal of sin, not demons, aligning with the broader biblical theme of holiness. Now, I said there, I inserted not demons, but it makes it clear. They were cleaning and removing in an act of repentance and the removal of sin. The unclean things likely included idols and objects associated with pagan worship. The courtyard served as a transitional space where these items were exposed before being permanently removed. This act reflects the biblical principle of separating the holy from the profane. It also parallels the New Testament call for believers to rid themselves of sin. Now, one other thing I want to mention here is that she's going to go on to mention, just for time's sake, I won't play this, but she mentions Nehemiah 13, verses 4 through 9. And she talks about how Tobias had taken up residency in the area of the storehouse within the temple. And this is during the time of Nehemiah when the gates are being restored. Jerusalem had been destroyed to a certain degree in certain areas. And so that's being restored by the people. Nehemiah was released by the king to do this. And so she's making a point of saying that there was like a squatter in essence, or someone like a trespasser, or someone that was not supposed to be there in the storehouses. And just like that, just like this passage shows, we're supposed to get the demons out. She's reading into the passage that nowhere does it say that, but she's going to use this in order to assure people that are listening to her that they need to have demons cast out of them as professing Christians.